So whenever we see a document on the browser, each element inside the document consists of box element. For example, we are having a container. That particular container is having number of p tags, or there are many multiple elements. Each element is having like the p tag or h tag. Each p or h tag is actually having a box model, and it refers to the box model. So what does a box model consist of? The box model consists of the content of the element, the padding, the border, and the margin. So as you can see in my image, this is the way like you will see the box model on the screen. So the tag which we are having, like the h1 tag, that content is present here in this section. Outside that we are having a padding section. Outside that we are having the border, and the last but not the least we are having the margin. And this is the way we are calculating it. Every section is having a box. For example, the content is having is content width is known by the content box. The padding inside a padding including the content is known by the padding box, and the border including the padding and the content is also known as the border box. So these are nothing but the values of a particular property we will go through in the upcoming slide. So this is the way we calculate and we analyze how the border box model work. Moving towards our next topic. So before diving into the box model, let's have a look at the things which affect the box model. So there are different things which affects a box model, such as width and height of a content, the margin and the padding. So the auto values, the margin collapsing, the maximum minimum height, the width of the element, overflowing, resetting defaults and the visibilities, the borders and the border radius. So these are the some things which we'll see in detail, so that we are aware about how the border box model works. So let's just check out how to calculate the width and height of a particular content using the box model. So in the box model, when we so when we inspect a particular element on a browser, we got to know that that particular element is having the x amount of width and the y amount of height. So how that width and height is being calculated by the browser? So the answer is on my screen. So as per the box model, the width is calculated from border box, and the height is calculated as you can see here with the like which include the content box and the padding box. So this is the way the width and the height of a particular content is been calculated. For example, if a padding is not present, then the content and the border will be considered for the width and height. Similarly, if a border is not present, then the content and the padding will be included for the width and height. Margin is excluded for width and height calculation by the browser. Then the next topic is margin versus padding. Let's just check out how it affecting, why we should and when we should use the margin padding. So both the margin and padding belongs to the box model. The main difference is that the margin add the space around an element, while the padding create a space within an element. You cannot use the auto value to make the browser automatically set the padding. Margin sets the element from other block outside the element. Padding shift the content inside the element further from the edges. Moving into detail about the margin padding, let's check this out. One versus multiple values. So the margin padding in CSS can have 1, 2 or 1, 2, 3 or 4 values. One value uses the same margin to all the sites. Two value It includes the first margin padding sets the top and bottom, the second set the left and right side. For the three values, the first sets the top, second sets the left and right, and the third sets the bottom. For the four values, for the margin padding, the order of the values goes like this: the top, right, bottom, and left. So we can compare it with the clockwise direction. So whenever we try to go with the four values, just think about the clockwise direction and start it from the top, right, bottom, and left. So next topic is default styling, resetting, and visibility. So every element is having some default styling, and that styling is being provided by the browser. And every browser have different styling. For example, the Chrome for the Chrome there is some default styling. The same type of styling is different in Mozilla, and similar goes to the Safari. So we can reset this styling by adding the CSS reset or normalized CSS. There are different libraries available, like the CSS reset. We can add this library and we can reset the whole default styling so that none of the HTML tag or element is having default styling. We can handle the visibility of the element also. So the visibility, we are using the display property. We can add the display none or display block. So display none will hide the element and the display block will show the element. What the visibility will do, the visibility will add the element in the DOM, but it will not show to the user. That is the tag which you will see in the browser, like the browser like on the browser the tag is not visible, but it is present in the document. We can see this by checking the inspect element or the Chrome developer tools. For the next topic, that is border and border radius. This also plays a major role in box model. So border is decided by its width, style, and the color, and the border radius define the amount of curve edges. So as you can see, like many of you have been seen on the website, like there are buttons which is smooth curves or the circular buttons. So these buttons have been defined, are been made by the border and the border radius. So on my screen, as you can see, like it is the border has been defined by the border width, style, and the color. So this is the default values which has been provided. So for the width, there are default values available such as length, thin, medium, thick. For the styles, we have different types, like how to show the particular border. So there are different types of styles available such as solid, there is a dark solid, the dash one, we have dotted one, double line also we can get it. So these are different types of border styles available. And for the colors, we can provide the color in form of RGB, RGBA, hex values, HSL, and HSLA. We will go through all these default values and check it out on a browser. The next topic that affects the box model is the auto margin and the margin collapse. Setting the width of a block element will prevent it from stretching out to the edges of its container to left and right. Then you can set the left and right margins to auto to horizontally center that element within its container. The element will take up the width you specify, then the remaining space will be splitted evenly between the two margins. And the margin collapse. When we place the two elements vertically with margin included, it will try to collapse those margin vertically. That is, they will be seen included into one another. That is known as margin collapsing. And it usually appears when we try to place the element vertically one after the another, and we are placing in such a way So in that scenario, the margins are not been calculated and it gets uh, into one another, trying to show us as the elements are being collapsed or the CSS is being broken or the layout has been broken. So next topic includes the minimum, maximum height or width and overflow. So for setting the maximum, minimum height or width of an element, we use max height, min height, max width, and min width. When the content is greater than the max height of an element, then the element is overflown out of the content box. To solve this issue, we use overflow property. The overflow property have these different values such as visible, hidden, scroll, auto, initial, and inherit. So let's just check out the box model on a browser and analyze the different key aspects which are affecting the box model into action. Let's just check out on our Visual Studio Code. Welcome back to our coding session on CSS box model. So we have already started with the starter code which we have already discussed in the previous module, that is the selectors. So you can just have a look for the starter code, and in this model we will have a look about the things which are affected by the box model or which is affecting the box model, and we will look at the different types of box model properties, that is content box, padding box, border box, and the inherit. First we will check out like how the box model is seen on the browser. So as you can see on my screen, like I have already added a h1 tag in my body with the statement like the welcome back to a second module on CSS box model. So when we are targeting that particular element, every element is having the box model. So this box model is giving us the idea about what is the content sizes, like as you can see on my screen. As I'm going over the content, it is showing that this content width is around 649 into 76. It is having no padding, no border, no margin. So when we will add the padding, margin, and the borders, it will pop up with these things. Similar way, like on our web page, every element is having this box model, and we can target this box model and see the calculative padding, margin, border, or the total width and height. So let's just check out one by one what the things are been affecting by the box model. So for that, what I will do is I will create a container first, and then I will try to add one by one the things. So for that I will be adding the container with another container of main effects. Like we are doing coding for the affected areas, the affected properties. So for that, a main effect container, another div, and inside that I will have two p tags with lorem ipsum example statement, again with another one. Okay, so as you can see, I'm having two statement, similar type of statement, two p tags. Okay, so let's just jump into these things, how we can code it. So first thing which are affected by the box model is the width and height. So for this we can do is I will add container, and with container there is one more container, that is main effects, and it is having the p tag. So we are targeting the p tag and we are setting the width and height of the p tag. So we can have a width of 200 pixel and a height of 200 pixel. When we save it, then have a look. Similarly, if we reduce it and try to save it, it is the same. Let's target the p tag inside the main effects. So I will have a main effects class selector, then the p tag, and I will add the width and height for the p tag, and that is 150, around 150 pixel and the height of 150 pixel. So as you can see, like the two sections are intersecting because the width and height are. Let's just increase it up to 250. Yeah, so this is having the height and width of 250. Okay, so when we hover over the first one, we are having the 250 and 250 width, as you can see, and you can see here also, like 250 by 250 we are having the width and height. Finally, we can also add the maximum width and minimum width. So we will first remove the width and height, and I will add the max width. Max width of 300 pixel and max height of 300 pixel. As you can see, like we are right now we are having maximum width of 300 and maximum height of 300. So what does this maximum height and maximum width is doing? It is instructing the container that you can go up to 300 pixels. You take whatever height, whatever width you want, but your limit is up to 300. Above that, your container will be seen as broken. For example, if I am adding 100 by 100 pixel of max width, so you can see like the container has been broken, the element has been seen broken. Similar way, we can add for the minimum also. Minimum height, minimum width of 200 pixel and maximum width of 200 pixel. So as you can see, like we are having a minimum and maximum width 200 by 200. So it is also instructing like this is the minimum width you have to start, and you can increase it up to whatever width we want. It is similar to the max width and max height, only the limit is minimum limit and max is having the maximum limit. There are some scenarios like where you have seen a container is also having a scroll, a small container. So that thing we can achieve using the overflow. So for that I will use the max width and max height, and for that I will use overflow. So overflow has many values such as hidden. So what it is doing is it is hiding the remaining content of the p tag. So as you can see, after emit there is no inventory, as you can see on the screen. All the things are been hidden. Similarly, it's also having an auto. So auto is just like key whenever the screen another one is the scroll. So what it is doing is it is instructing the container to have a scroll if the container content is greater than the container width and height. So we can have that scroll. There is another one that is the auto. So it is instructing the browser, like whenever it reaches to its maximum width or maximum height, then only you should apply the scroll. And if you are having the overflow scroll, then it is instructing the browser, no matter the container has reached its maximum width or height, you just apply this browser scroller. So this way we can have the scrolling portion also in our container, in our particular element. Now comes the width, the padding and the margin. We will just have a look. I will just comment this out. So for the margin, we can have one value, we can have two values, we can have three values. So right now we are having a margin of one value. So it is covering all the we are having the margin with one value, so it is covering all the sides, like top, left, right, bottom. It's covering all the things. So, and next one is with the two values. If we are having two values margin, so it is saying please apply 10 pixel for top and bottom and apply 5 pixel for left and right. So I will just save it, and you can see here, like the left and right is having the 5 pixel and the top and bottom is having the 10 pixel of margin. It can also have a value of three values, like the 5 pixel and the last one is 3 pixel. So what it is doing is it is instructing the first value to be as the top one, the second value to be the left and right, and the third value to be the bottom value. So there might be a scenario where you would be confused regarding which value covers the which side. So for that you can just get over to that particular element, check the computer tab here, and on scrolling you can have the different parts. Like for example, for the margin bottom we have 3 pixels, for the margin left we have 5 pixels, for margin right we have 5 pixels, for margin 10 top we have 10 pixels. Similar way you can just go towards the developer tools and click on the computer tab. We are able to check out that. Now comes the four value margin. So for that I am adding 4 values, and you can see here, like we have the 4 different values for the 4 different sides, and it works clockwise. It works with the first, it will start from top, then the right, bottom, and then left. The similar things appears for the padding also. So for the padding, I will just replace the margin with the padding. And I will save it. So you can see the padding is having, now the padding bottom is 3 pixel, left is 2, right is 5, and padding top is 10. So this is the way the padding works with multiple number of values, start from 1 to 4. And there is one more section after margin and padding is the border. And for the border there is a golden rule that we should always provide the padding. So after that only we are able to provide the border. So for border I am adding 1 pixel of solid red. As you can see, like all these, both the sections are having the red border. But there is like different kinds of borders also provided. For example, we will take second one as the dotted. So you can see like these are the dotted lines. Then we have dash type. So dash are like different from dotted one. There is another one that is the double line, and for that I will just comment out this one, and I will add border style of double. So as you can see, like we are having two lines of border. Similarly, there are different values such as border style of outset, inset, rigid. So you can just try it out on your own. So I will just go with the last one, that is the outset. So as you can see, like it is showing as we are having a border which is outward styling. Similar way, we can have different border and border styling. One more thing we can have with the borders is the border radius. For example, we are having the red one. Okay, just a second. We are having the red border, and we are having the red radius of 10 pixel. So as you can see, whatever the curve which we are seeing on the container at the corners are nothing but the radius. One more concept is also missing, that is the margin collapse. So margin collapse, it happens in the scenarios when we align the containers one above the other. Like we are having the p tags one above the other, and if you're trying to add the margin, so it will work like this. Okay, so right now we are having 10 pixel. So technically the first paragraph should have 10 pixel and the second paragraph should have 10 pixel. Total there should be a 20 pixel of gap. But right now, as you can see, we are having 10 pixel, and for the another pack also we are having 10 pixel. It means that the first and the second paragraph margin are collapsing. So we should make sure we are not applying the margins in such conditions, like when we are aligning the one after the another. There is one auto value, and I guess I have covered this auto value in the first session itself. So if you want the container to be center aligned, so you can align that using the margin auto, and this auto value doesn't work for padding. So this is the container which you can see here. This is the container. I am provided the width of 60%, and I have instructed the browser that I want to align it in the middle, and for that I am using the margin. Now comes the resetting default. So for resetting the default, there are many libraries such as Css Reset, and usually I go with the simple one, that is I just want to reset all the margin padding. The default, every browser have default margin padding for every element, and we can reset it using margin 0 and margin padding 0 with the universal selector, that is the star one. So you can do with that. So next comes the box model property. So we will cover the 4 properties, and before diving into this I will just comment out this section, the main effect, the whole container. Yeah, Now comes the box model. For the box model, I will just create three containers, three similar containers. Container with the main, and main I'm having another div and an empty div. I will have three similar kind of container with first one as the main, second one as the main div, and third one as the main 3. Let's code it. For the first container, what I will do is I will add main div. I will give some width and height, some background color with the background of light blue. Then I will add some font size. If font size is not required, then the box sizing value that we will discuss. First one is content box. Second one, we will add padding of 50 pixel and margin of 50 pixel, and the border of 5 pixel, solid and black color. So for the another one, we will have the same kind of CSS, only the difference would be the back box sizing will have a different value. So for the main 2, we have padding box, and for the main 3 we will have border box. So I will just let you know, like the content box will calculate the width and height as per the content, its whole container. Okay, it will not include any margin, not padding, no border, only the content. Content box and the padding box work similar. The difference comes when we apply the border box. So let's just check this out on browser. As you can see, the content box and padding box are similar to each other. And when we try to check on the border box, will include everything in its width and height. Whatever the padding is, whatever the margin is, it will include all the things within the width and height. Just when we hover over the third div in the main 3 div, so you can see like the margin is been included, the padding has been included, and the content has been also included, all under the 200 width. So this is the way it works. The last but not the least, it's the inherit. Inherit instruct the browser to take the parent box sizing property.